it gets a little bit more of a sourdough taste, which I really enjoy too. Hey everybody, it's Jeff from Southern Homestead, and I'm here to show you how to make a really simple, say quick bread, but it's not really quick. It's just a really easy bread to make when you're in a hurry. Water, yeast, a little bit of sugar, salt, and some flour. That's it, and time. This is a no-knead bread, so if you're busy, you can make it in the morning, bake it in the afternoon. It does need to sit about at least 4 hours, maybe up to, well, not maybe. I've let it sit up to 16 hours before I made a loaf of bread. You could probably let it go even longer than that, and it works great. So start with a cup and a half of warm water and add about a quarter to a half teaspoon of yeast. You do not need very much yeast for this. This is for one loaf of bread. And then just a little bit of sugar. Let that sit in some warm water until the yeast blooms. And it'll look foamy on the top, or little bubbles on the top, and that way you know your yeast is good. I use this yeast. If your yeast doesn't foam, if it doesn't get bubbly, throw it out. It ain't no good. Don't be stingy with the yeast. If yeast is cheap, just go buy yourself some new yeast and get rid of it. If your yeast isn't bubbly, it's not active, and your bread isn't going to turn out. I use bread flour. I happen to live in China, so this is just bread flour. It's got a little more gluten in it, and I find that it turns out a little bit better. So 3 cups flour. Doesn't have to be really precise. This is a very, very forgiving recipe. So I just grabbed 3 cups of flour. A little short. That's good. And then mix it up. There's the traditional way of making bread is kneading it, and there's a reason that you need it. When flour and water get together, they get happy. And when things get together and they get happy, they tend to create other things. And flour and water, they love creating a little thing called gluten. Gluten is a protein, and it's what holds the bread together and holds the little bubbles inside the bread when you look inside of a slice of bread. And that happens 2 different ways. Now this bread recipe that I'm making, gluten is formed over time. So the water and the flour mix together, and then over time the gluten is formed. When you make traditional bread and you knead it, you're loving on the dough, and as you're loving on the dough and you're pushing it and pulling it, and you're stretching it, and you're creating the gluten strands. What this recipe does is lets the flour and water get happy together. They start loving on each other, and they start making their own gluten. And that takes time, at least 4 or 5 hours. And it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I plan on baking this bread sometime after dinner tonight. So it'll be ready for tomorrow. Now it's a sticky dough. It is a sticky, sticky dough, but that's all right. Don't mind if it's sticky. Use my chopstick. Scrape off the mixing paddle. It doesn't matter if it's sticky. This bread is a little bit different than your traditional kneaded bread. The dough is a little moist. That extra moisture will bake off in the oven. That's really sticky. It doesn't want to come off. So my dough is mixed up, and I'm going to put some of this stuff on it. Oh, this stuff is great. I just cover the dough with that. Cover the pan loosely with that. And now I'm just going to let this sit out on the table and get happy and do its thing for the next 6 hours. and I'll bake that off tonight. I'll be with you a little bit later to show you the rest. Hey everybody, it's Jeff. I'm back to take care of the bread. Getting ready to get it in the baking pan. I put this bread together, mixed it up in the bowl, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It is now 6 o'clock at night, so it's been 5 hours. And it's just been sitting here in the bowl right on the table. And you can see the plastic is sticking to it just a little bit. It's all right. It's a really sticky dough. It's a really wet dough. And that's okay. A little bit of dough on there. Not going to hurt anything. Set the plastic aside because we'll use that again when we let the dough rise in the pan. And it is sticky, it's bubbly, it's gooey, and now we're just going to plop it out of the bowl onto a little bit of a floured surface. More flour for my hands, and now we're going to turn this dough just a couple of times. It doesn't need to be kneaded. This is a no knead recipe, but it does need the air pushed out of it. So we're going to just kind of fold it over on itself 5-6 times. Oh, it's so sticky. And push the air out of it. Alright, that's all there is to it. I got this non-stick baking pan. It's not getting greased. May throw a little bit of flour in there just to help on the corners a little bit. But that's it. Knock the rest of the flour out, and then just drop your dough in. Yep, that's it. Now I'm going to cover it back up with that plastic wrap. I think I may get a new piece of plastic wrap. I don't want that dough sticking to it like that. So I'll get some new plastic wrap, I'll cover it up, and the oven is preheating right now. Put my oven at 400. I'm going to preheat it and let this dough rise for about 30 or 40 minutes, and I'll put it in the oven and bake it for 30 minutes, and it will be done, and we'll have it for dinner tonight. Alright, I'll be back when the bread is coming out of the oven and show you what it looks like. Just about done with the next drawing of the house.
Ooh. And your drawings are so good that we can use those for the building permit and for our plans and all that.
They are proper draft. They are proper drafting and to scale.
Yeah.
All right, the bread is out and it looks yummy. I'm going to take it out, put it on the cutting board, let it cool off just a few minutes. We're getting ready to eat dinner, and look at that. I love these non-stick pans. No grease, no nothing. And the bread just falls out of it. And another yummy loaf of bread. That's the nice thing I like about this bread recipe, is it gives a really nice crunchy crust, and I enjoy a crunchy crust on it. It's because of the extra moisture content, but the inside of the bread, nice and soft. You can see it looks like regular bread. The longer you let it set, like today I only let it set for 5 hours. Usually I let it set for 10 or 12 while I'm at work. But if you let it set for 10, 12, 16, even 20 hours, it gets a little bit more of a sourdough taste, which I really enjoy too. Now we're going to sit down and enjoy some good soup and some hot bread. Ooh, that is hot. And a slice. And tomorrow will be biscuits. Bought some fresh strawberries at the market today, and I'm going to make some biscuits. A little sweet biscuit, similar to a shortbread recipe, but make it into a biscuit, and have some strawberries and whip some cream, and have some strawberries and biscuits and cream tomorrow. So, have a great day.